Om Bhadram Karnebhyah Shruniyam Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhairyajtraah Sthirairangaiः Stushravagumsastanubhih Yashema Devahitay Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaः Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemiः Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Manohidvividham proktam Shuddham cha shuddhameva cha Shuddham kama sankalpam Shuddham kama viparchitam Mana eva manushyanam Karanam bandha mokshayoh Bandhaya vishayasaktam Muktam vishayam smritam Yato nirvishayasyasya Manaso muktirishyate Ato nirvishayam nityam Manah karyam mumukshuna Nirasta vishaya sangam Sanniruddham manohridi Yada yatyatmano bhavam Tada tat paramam padam Tavadeva nirodhavyam Yavad hridigatam kshayam Etad jnanancha dhyanancha Shesho nyayascha vistaraha Naiva chintyam na chachintyam Na chintyam chintyameva cha Pakshapata vinirmuktam Brahma sampadhyate tada. Now this is no, we haven't done that yet. Yeah, this one we are on. That we'll do that in the next class perhaps. Let's see how far we go. Okay. So, ever so often in the Upanishads, we have a kind of it's quite customary to encounter a curved ball. What is that called? Curved ball? Yeah, this is a curved ball because we were proceeding on we were getting very complacent with the mind, with the discussion of the mind rather, which is far from complacent. Mind does all kinds of antics and it's all over the place. But still we said, okay, the mind has to be nirvishaya. And what is nirvishaya we talked about. It's not that, it's not the stoppage, sanniruddham, it's not the stoppage of the thoughts, but the management of the longings and the disconnection of the longings from the objects of desire. And objects includes people, situation, events, etc. And then reconnecting those longings to its real place, the source, which is oneself. That is what the whole thing was we have been doing. And then, the feeling is, yeah, I think I got it. Because yada ayati, that's where we concluded. Atmano bhavam. Atmano bhavam, okay, one's authentic nature and one's quote-unquote true self. This is another, what is that called? Sickness in the spiritual world. True self, false self, and what else? Self with a small s, self with a big S, all these things. There's only one self, okay? Yeah. And so you cannot say true and false when there is only one. For any true or false questions, there should be at least two options available, but here there is only one. And so you can say a false identification with everything anatma, that's a different thing, but there's only one self. And so we saw how that the authentic self is something that I can, that is a twofold understanding. We understood it in a twofold way. One is having or cultivating authenticity in my daily practices, in my daily, what's the word for it, engagement with the duality from the standpoint of authenticity, understanding, acceptance, more compassion, we saw all this, and then reducing subjectivity, ultimately on the paramarthika level, that is authenticity. All this we saw. And then yada ayati, when this happens, what happens? When I am more in touch with myself, then tada tat paramam padam. That paramam padam, okay, then you gain that which is the ultimate. Interestingly, what that ultimate is not given in that verse. This is so that everyone comes to class the next day. That's why everybody is here today. And, this is the whole idea. So that, it's the Upanishadic cliffhanger, the first reason why it is a little intentionally vague. In what number was that? Verse number 7? Yeah, 7. No, 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah, 5. What was that, 5 or 6?
Well, 4 is where Paramampadam.
Yeah, Paramampadam 4, correct? And then it was also talked about how this Paramampadam is both the means and the ends. Etad jnanam cha, dhyanam cha. This ultimate, thing that I want is the goal, and it's also the means. How can that be possible? How can it be both the practice and, the sadhana and sadhya? It can only be possible when that vastu is you, correct? Seeker is you, sought is you. Seeker means practice, sought means goal. So therefore, since the subject and object are one and the same, object is, the object of the subject is none other than the subject itself, and the object of the spiritual, whatever life is also oneself. So there is the abhinnata, meaning there is no separation between the means and the goal. And so the complacency can set in. Oh, Paramam Padam, yeah. Last time I checked, I am authentic. Yes, there is, Atma is rising up, bubbling up, because all the desires are being managed. Yes, I'm there, and I am this Paramam Padam is being gained. In fact, I saw it in a dream last night. In fact, I saw it in my meditation in the form of yellow light, blue light, Amrtabindu Upanishad, yellow light, blue light, all these things. And one person says, another person says, I didn't see it, I heard it. Oh, what does it sound like? It's just beyond description. It is in fact a soundless sound, anahata. Anahata means a sound that is not heard. Scratch your head right now. That's the only response to this. You heard an unheard sound? That's right. So, is that which is unheard, can it be called a sound? That which is unheard, can it be called a sound? Well, don't split hairs. These are all very esoteric things. Brahman, we are not talking of Brahman yet. The goal is very subtle. So I heard the soundless sound. One person says, I saw the sightless sight. And so all kinds of funny ideas about the nature of this Paramam Padam that was described earlier as both the practice and the object of the practice, the goal, as that non-separate, the abhinnata between the practice and between the seeker and the sought, between the practitioner and the goal, all that was described, but it is still shrouded in vagueness because this mind was recently restrained and disciplined. And it won't take much time for it to go awry and start imagining things. Not much time at all. All you have to be doing is sitting and waiting in the doctor's office because there is time there. And then you can't read the magazines because they're 1 year old, all of them. And in every doctor's office, I don't know why, but it's from Purva Janma. All the magazines are from last life. Okay, so you don't have any interest in reading them. And they're all dog-eared and torn and everything. So you're left to your own devices. Then you start imagining, and the mind just doesn't take much time at all. All you need is some free time. And the mind makes great use of it. And then, and depending on the personality, you could have rearranged all the interior decor of the doctor's office, or you could have, replaced the doctor and run your own practice, because what do they know anyway? Or you could have, been, dreaming or fantasizing about cleaning up the politics just in time for these elections. So many things are possible. It's a rich, the mind is very fertile, doesn't need miracle grow at all, because it grows upon itself miraculously. And the mind is best at the only thing it knows. And it's interesting, we have a nice little synergy going on between, what is that afternoon one? Panchadashi and this one. There also, the job of the mind is being described where we are. There also we are in the 6th, 7th verse. Here also, it's just going along in tandem. So the mind is described as having nothing else to do but objectify things. Because that's what it does in its spare time, and even when it has no spare time, that's the only thing that it knows how to do. It makes a few boxes and sorts out things according to categories, and it writes in permanent marker what those categories are, indelible. And how does it decide what categories they are? Based on previous raga dveshas. That's all. Those categories are not objective. So it's not just 2 traits, raga dvesha. That would be infinitely easy to manage. Many trays based on the raga dveshas, and so many trays, and then that's all it knows how to do. Then Paramam Padam is not spared of these categories. Why should it be spared? What is so special about the ultimate goal? Why cannot I try to categorize it and put some frills and make some little scallops around it and then present it to the world? I have gained this knowledge. How? Apne aap, standing under the shower, I just got this knowledge. Or I was just, and there are so many, these apne aap stories are very amusing. So one person says like that, another person says that this is the latest fad. I had an NDE. What is NDE? Near death experience. Everybody has had, You talk to anybody, you catch hold of a fellow on the street, and they will have also had near-death experience. This is in fashion. To have just, what should I say? Just exchanged a handshake with Lord Yama, but you have to come back. Otherwise, it's not seen as a valid NDE. And then what happened, this is all these, so-called spiritual, whatever, quote-unquote, enlightenment stories. There may be some truth to it, I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people are overusing this rhetoric. And so, what is that? Now, the thing is some sickness or some accident or something like that, and then the pulse stopped. What else stopped? Heart stopped, breathing stopped, of course, and then the subtle body of this jiva hovered around the gross body and saw people, crying over this body, saw the paramedics doing CPR, saw the body being bundled into the ambulance, taken to the emergency ICU, and saw people working on it, and then came back. And when the next paddle was done, came back. And in that time that it was having this out-of-body experience, the person developed great vairagya for the body, because they understood that the body is impermanent, and had a new understanding, not just of the relationship to the body, but the relationship to the whole world, and how love and forgiveness are the twin packs that are going to help one along this journey. Nothing wrong, like I said. And if it may be a true experience in a few cases, it may be true that the person develops vairagya and towards the body and comes back, and then understands this. What I'm talking about is those experiences taken to the next level of being shared with humanity as the ultimate. This is the ultimate, and this is how you get there. It's all because of me and because I had this out-of-body experience. And then they will say, I approached a white light. So the white light becomes Paramam Padam. And of course, nothing is said about the fact that the white light rejected and sent this fellow back. White light should have said, okay, come. This loving, all-encompassing white light, whatever it means. White light, yellow light, blue light, color is based on whatever, coloration. So, so the white light should have embraced, but the white light sent this person back. Of course, their story is sent this person back with a message, and that give this message to the whole of humanity. You see how one person, the person has inserted themselves as the messenger, And so this way, there is this, there's a lot of books, CDs, DVDs about what this Paramam Padam looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, And this is, approaching very much the danger zone, and all the work that we have done with the mind in the first 5 verses is threatening to be undone. And so the Upanishad thinks, at this time, the Guru here, teaching the Upanishad, thinks it's time to send the mind on another spin. Because the mind should be kept dancing all the time, dodging this categorization, this penchant for categorization and this categorical thinking. And so here the teacher, throws in a very, what's the kind of a curved, deliberately mesmerizing verse. What is that? Well, let us take a look at it. And also, the teacher uses this verse to elucidate and elaborate further what this Paramam Padam is. It's not your own, Manorajya. Paramam Padam is not your spiritual fantasy, your spiritual romantic fantasy. This white light, this yellow light, this green light, or this sound. I've told you, in meditation, when a sound comes, that means you're hungry. Kuru, 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 kuru. That's what it says. It's digestive juices announcing it's meal time. Stop meditating, you eat your breakfast. That's all it is, So, the whole thing is very important to not come into this temptation, not come under the spell of trying to make it into an object. And it's very, very easy. Very, very easy. And many people, even the so-called teachers with fly-by-night operations, they also cannot. With a fly-by-night operation means without precedent, without parampara, without sampradaya, without the weight of the lineage, which makes the teaching extremely safe. Without that, it is just anyone's fantasy. Anybody can say anything, And so this verse stands as a corrective to those tendencies, and also it at the same time it takes the time to elaborate what this Paramam Padam is, because if it doesn't elaborate that, then the Paramam Padam is as good as my own imagination. Each one can imagine, each one of us sitting here can imagine what is Paramam Padam and then have a potluck and discuss what it is. No, I think it's like, this is not about what you think. It is about what it is. It is something to see. It is something to understand. See means it's something to get. It's something to understand. It's not a matter for discussion. That you are limitless is not a matter for argument or discussion. How are you going to discuss? Oh, well, I'm more limitless than you. That makes no sense, okay? How are you going to argue? Well, I don't agree that I am limitless. You will only look bad. That's all. So, this is it's an important verse coming at a time where that complacency can just set in, seeing as we have entered the discussion using one's own mind, using our own mind as the topic of the discussion. We have entered it and the mind feels very nicely lulled into this complacency. Yes, I am Nirvikshaya now. Since all the objects have been chased away and the longing for them also, now I have a new object, which is this Paramam Padam. I am going to play with it, throw it in the air and catch it and juggle it. I am going to name it. I am going to make some notations and I am going to write a thesis about it. The mind is feeling jubilant. This is a little bit of cold water thrown. And this is how the verse goes and makes the mind completely befuddled. That's the whole idea. Mind means pramata here, mind you. Yeah, mind here means the knower, the one who is sitting behind the mind and approving of all its objectification and antics. That is the one that has to be reined. And the knower is always a know-it-all. And you meet people sometimes who you start saying something, I know. But how do you know what I know? How do you know what I'm going to say? I already know. I think we should, I know. And then this is how, this is how the person is. They say, I know, before you can even open the mouth. And that's how, can't fault them, because that's how the mind of everyone is. That's all it is. I know, it's about the person is a know-it-all, an inner know-it-all. And this inner know-it-all is given a slight thwack on the head. Sit down, you don't know anything. And so, therefore, this is a nice pun on the word chintya. Chint, 10th conjugation, chintayati, or te, chintayate, chintayati. 10th conjugation verbs go both ways. And so chint, to consider, to meditate, to contemplate, to think about, to have an opinion, to objectify. You see so many things, so many meanings. Chint. Okay? So chint is the root verb. Chintya, the ya here, is a pratyaya. Pratyaya means what? A suffix that gives it several meanings. Again, one meaning is chintana yogya chintya. worthy of chintanam. Chintanam here means contemplation, thinking about, enquiry, all these things come. One meaning is that. Another meaning, chintya, is it must be done. Meaning you do not have an option. It must be done. And then one more meaning, chintya is that which is subject to objectification. One more meaning. That which is subject to objectification. And then, those are some meanings. If one more comes out, we'll see. Okay? So these are the different meanings of the word chinta. Now, naiva chintyam. Idam. Now idam na chintyam. Idam, what is this idam? Go back to verse number 4. Paramam padam naiva chintyam. It is not a matter for objectification. Not a matter for objectification. And in fact, verse number 5 has also already said that other than what has been talked about, everything else is just verbal, garbage. That's what verbiage means, verbal garbage. Yeah. New vigraha, new, definition of that word. Verbiage means verbal garbage. It was already said that earlier. Riding on a false logic, everything that you just mentate or come up with is verbal garbage. It was said that. So then what am I supposed to do? Naiva chintyam. This is not something, this paramam padam, this goal is not objectifiable. First meaning. Meaning it's not an object. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. Manasa saha, important. From which padam, which goal, the words, the verbal garbage in verse number 5, along with the mind, sad and dejected, both of them come back hand in hand. Yeah, both of them are friends. The words and the mind, speech and mind are friends. Because the mind categorizes and the speech articulates. The speech is the microphone of the mind. It amplifies the thoughts. So both of them are great friends. The speech is in the employ of the mind. Unfortunately, whatever one thinks, one blabbers. And so therefore, what happens? So the mind, along with its microphone, the speech, goes to this paramam padam, as yet unnamed, and it goes, knocks on the door of the ultimate goal. What shall I call you? Open the door. And what does paramam padam do? The ultimate goal does not open the door. Are you there? Does not answer yes. Who are you? Does not say anything. What shall I call you? This? Silent. Shall I call you that? Silent. But what are you? Where are you? What do you look like? No response. And the mind, is used to success. Very quickly, it just, sums up a person, a thing, all the things, all the nouns. Person, place, thing, event, everything, it just sums up. And it has a diatribe on each and everything. It can write, in volumes on each and every object in the universe. It objectifies everything. And here, it unable to objectify, the words and the mind come back very sad and ashamed, both of them. Yataha yasmat karanat, from which causeless cause, which is the truth of yourself. Because what we are studying here is you, but not as an object, as the subject alone. And so the mind here has no business masquerading as the agent of this knowledge. That's the idea. It's not an agent of this knowledge because this knowledge is not produced. It simply is. It's not an author, it's not an agent. Oh, it's not an agent? No. It's not an author? No. What is it? Servant. That's all it is. Oh, the mind is not like that one bit. It thought it was owning this place, this establishment, but then it has a new portfolio. It's the dishwasher. I mean, who will like that? Who will like that? Nobody will, sit quietly. And so the mind also comes back, temporarily stunned and, yato vacho nivartante. First the speech comes back and the mind follows because the mind and the speech are in tandem. Aprapya manasasaha vachaha nivartate. Nivartante. The speech, words come back. Aprapya. Aprapya means up, to gain. Prap, to certainly gain. Aprap, certainly not gained. What? The paramam padam, which is the truth of oneself as an object. The Atma, ungained, one has come back. In fact, two have come back. The speech and the mind sadly come back, slowly shuffling, kicking some pebbles on the road. They come back. And then, that is what the Taittiriya Upanishad talks about the mind. The Taittiriya Upanishad doesn't have a very high opinion of the use of the mind as an objectifier of things, of everything. There is no use here. It doesn't have a high opinion about this at all. It just relegates the mind to be, just there, and it is not an agent of this knowledge. It just crosses out the mind. And the Kena Upanishad, similarly, what does it do? It cautions this and says that this Paramam Padam, the ultimate goal, which is nothing but you, the subject, cannot be known as an object. Yan manasa na manute. Manute means, gained as an object, thought about, objectified. Yat, yat brahma, yat padam, manasa na manute. That which cannot be objectified by the mind, tadeva brahma tvam vidhi. Know that padam, which is called Brahman here, to be yourself. Nedam yadidam upasate, not something that you worship, not something that you can objectify. The Kena Upanishad and the Taittiriya Upanishad are great friends, let us say, because they say something similar. In walks Kathopanishad with a slightly different trajectory. Ayyo. And the Kathopanishad appears to contradict these other two and including this one. Naiva Chintya. This one also is friends with the other, three of them now. And then the Kathopanishad, what does it say? Manasa eva idam aptavyam. That same ap. What was that ap in Taittiriya Upanishad? Na ap. Aprapya. Having certainly not gained, they return dejectedly, the mind and words. And here, manasa, third case, by the mind, through the mind, idam paramam padam, eva, only by the mind, this should be gained. Ayyo, I thought we were in agreement. Now what shall we do? It's not even time to take a break. How are we going to get out of this one? So, manasa, even though it's in the instrumental case, it's not the agent. It's in the instrumental case, in the sense of, first you banish the mind. Out, out, out. get away from here, you know, like putting the cat out. And you know, because the cat is creating havoc in the house, and then you put it out. And then it is cold and it promises to be good, and it scratches and it cries and it has learnt its lesson. Then you let it back in, correct? And then it hopefully quietly just goes and sits in one place, because somehow even animals know the connection between cause and effect. And so it's like putting the animal out because it's wreaking havoc, scratching the furniture or making noise, and then after that when it goes out in the cold, then it doesn't like it there, it promises to be good and comes back. The same thing has to be done with the mind. First it is cast out as an agent of knowledge, as an agent of this Paramam Padam. It is not something that's manufacturing this Paramam Padam. It's cast out, relegated to, as having no role in this business of knowing the self. Because the self is not an object, and the mind only deals with objects. The self is the subject. The mind can only illumine objects. Where does it get the light to illumine? It borrows the light from the subject. So how can that borrowed light from the subject shine the light on the subject to reveal the subject that doesn't need to be revealed? Do you want me to repeat that? No, good. Okay. So first of all, the light is borrowed. And so from the borrowed light, you are trying to shine the light on that light from which it is borrowed. It's like, holding a candle and doing a tour of the earth and showing the candle to the sun and saying, this is our sun, please look. Is that even necessary? No. Is that even possible? No. So this is what we are trying to do when we engage in mental antics, trying to objectify the truth of the self, the content of the self. Because the mind doesn't have the wherewithal, the mind cannot objectify. Oh, shall we bring another mind? No. Because it's not an object. It is the very nature of the subject. Oh, but it's so sad, everything I can objectify except the self. Buddhu, Buddhu is opposite of Buddha, Buddha means the knowledgeable one. Buddhu means, the one who refuses to gain knowledge. That is Buddhu. It need not be objectified. Oh, why not? This is not fair. The not I is objectified all the time. Why shouldn't the I be objectified? Because it doesn't need to be, it is self-shining. It's already known as the subject. It need not be objectified. This the mind doesn't understand. So therefore, the injunction here, naiva chintyam, this is not an object. This paramam padam, which is the truth of the body-mind complex, which is the truth of you, naiva chintyam. This is not an object. Oh, okay, then I'm not coming to class. This is what the mind says. What's the point? I'm never going to get it. I can't objectify. I don't need to objectify. So I'm just being sent out of the door like bad kitty. And so I'm not coming back. I'm going somewhere else where I'm appreciated, the mind says. Where I have job satisfaction. What is this business subject? Just making me always in the spin cycle. I'm not happy here. I'm taking my wares elsewhere. Wait a minute, next one what? Na cha achintyam. Oh, the mind is now stopped going wherever it was. It had packed a little lunch box and it was leaving. A little sandwich it had packed and it was ready to go. And then what? Organic sandwich. This is Eugene, okay? And it had all packed its sandwich. It was leaving in a huff. It was the miffed mind, because it has, the only job that it was good at has been taken away. How dare they? How dare this Upanishad and that Upanishad, The miffed mind is very upset now and it wants to leave. When the going gets tough, the tough need to get going, and so the mind says, I'm out of here. And then it is stopped. Because the mind likes, to its credit, it likes puzzles. Naiva cha chintyam na cha achintyam. Well, but it is still worth the enquiry. Oh, what? You just banished me and now you are calling me back. Why should I come? Because you have no self-respect. Come back, It's all a manufactured protest. Come back. Here, nacha achintyam means it is not worthy of enquiry. In Sanskrit, we love double negatives for emphasis. In English, we are told, don't use double negative. It makes the sentence weak. In Sanskrit, we are told, use double negatives for strength and emphasis. Achintyam, not to be thought about here, not worthy of enquiry. Na achintyam, not unworthy of enquiry, meaning eminently and extremely worthy of enquiry this subject matter is. Oh, did you say enquiry? Yes, I'm talking to the mind now, Mind is talking back. Did you say enquiry? Yes. Oh, so you said enquiry. Can an enquiry be conducted without me? How can we conduct an enquiry without you? That's why I'm saying come back. Naiva cha, naiva chintyam. It's not an object, and the miffed mind goes away, returns, goes away, turns away, and then it's asked to return. First it is banished, and then it is asked to return. It's like after an enquiry, a shake-up at the top levels. In the ministry, cabinet level, complete shake-up because there's all kinds of corruption going on. So first everyone is disbanded, everybody is disbanded, and then the one that was the minister is brought back in a servile capacity. You just be a consultant, an overseer, dishwasher. Make sure everything is dried and neatly kept and ordered. That's what you're good at. You help the preparation for this knowledge. You help the enquiry, but you become the servant of the Upanishad. Very difficult. No mind will agree at first. It will throw a tantrum. Right? It's not even in the house. You have called it back. It's right on the street in front of the house, and it throws a very big tantrum. And it says, what? Now you are calling me back to do this enquiry, but then I am part of a commission? No, in fact, I'm working for this commission. And I'm just supposed to just give up the files, whatever you ask for, and I shouldn't do anything. I have no decision-making capacity. Am I right? Correct. So I don't lead the enquiry? Absolutely not. So what am I? Dishwasher. Dishwasher means what? You're a gopher. Yeah. You just do what you're told. That's what is a gopher. Gopher means you go for whatever you are asked to bring, go for it and bring it back. Gopher. You're a gopher. You just play fetch. That's all it is. Like a good doggy after it goes to obedience school. Before, what was the doggy doing? The doggy was making you play fetch. Making you run around. And then you take it to obedience school, and then it has now learned to bring you slippers. Of course, after it chews them, but that's graduate obedient school that hasn't yet come. But at least it's bringing something. So the mind is relegated to the mail carrier, the gopher, the one that just carries things around, the one that shows certain things in a servile capacity. I like to think of the mind as an usher. The usher in the opera or some kind of a theatre play. Sometimes people come late, there is traffic, they can't help it. And so all the doors are closed, everything is dark inside the theatre. And these fellows with little flashlights, guide you to your seat. That's what the whole thing is. The mind guides the pramata to take its seat as the truth of itself. The correct seat, not the hot seat, and not the tiny limited seat, and not the tripod stool from which it's constantly falling off, but the proper throne where it belongs. So the mind is just a servile usher leading it to that seat from which it has been destabilized, because of self-ignorance. And so the mind is brought back. I always think of like this. When at the time of sannyasa, the student leaves, goes off in the northern direction. North stands for moksha. In fact, drops all the clothes and goes off, with the tide of the water, wherever it is, just goes off. And then either the teacher or the other co-disciples call the person back, come back and be of service. Because when the person leaves, the person says, I am dropping doership. You see here, this is very interesting. I am dropping doership and I am out of here. And then the disciples call, or the guru calls and says, you don't have to be a doer, you just be of service. And your doership here is falsified as though live and be of service. So too the mind, which had earlier a kind of a vengeance-based vairagya, not true vairagya. You don't want me, I'm leaving. Because all I can do is categorize. Come on, you can do other things. No, I won't. I'm gone. I'm out of here. You don't want me. You don't love me anymore. This is the vairagya. The miffed mind goes away. I'm not going to do this. Too hard, too ridiculous. And then is brought back in a new capacity with true vairagya. Yes, now the mind is a sannyasi. It comes back wearing an orange frock, First it is defrocked from its penchant to put things in category, and then it's given a little orange frock. Be of service. Be of service to this knowledge. But how? First you knock off, you help me in, the Upanishad is saying, you help me in knocking off the pramata, and when the pramata is knocked off senseless, we'll escort this fellow into the true seat, which is the paramam padam, which is where the self belongs. And why was this person de-seated? Ignorance and wrong identification. It was de-seated, and so you seat the person. What de-seated? Had not even occupied the seat. So you seat the person where the person belongs. So what is my job? You shine a little light, that's all it is. And then what do? Before that you can help, when the pramata is knocked off senseless, you can bring some chai and sprinkle some water and, console the person and prepare them for what is to come. First the mind is very upset, extremely annoyed, and then what choice does it have, okay? So it says, all right, okay, naiva chintyam, but at the same time, this subject matter of the self is not unworthy of enquiry. okay, what do I do now? You come back as a servant. First you were the employer, and now what are you? A simple, basic employee. That's all you are. You are just a canvas on which all these things are taking place. Where the knowledge is taking place, you are the receptacle where the knowledge is taking place. You are not the author or the agent. So this is still 1/4 of the verse, believe it or not. And welcome Prashanti. Yes, see, everybody comes at the right time. Wonderful. Prashanti has just come back from Mysore. And okay, so naiva chintyam nacha achintyam. And then again, na chintyam. Na chintyam. Ayyayo, what are we going to do here? I thought na eva chintyam. What were the meanings? What were the meanings we were told in the beginning? No. The 3 meanings of the word chintya. Yeah.
That is worthy of thinking, must be done, that which is subject to objectification.
So, what was that? Which ones have we used so far?
So far
Which ones have we used? Which one is left over?
Must be.
Can't be objectified.
Can't be objectified has been used up. That was the first one. And then,
Worthy of
it's worthy of thought was also used up. And then, so naiva chintyam. So na chintyam. The next one, na chintyam means cannot be. There's one more meaning. Naiva chintyam, na cha achintyam. And then na chintyam. And here, na chintyam means don't look for it where it is not. That is also one more meaning. Looking for something where it is not. Na chintyam. Na chintyam means don't look for it it's not one among the many objects that you are searching for. Na chintyam, first one, na chintyam as an object, do not objectify. And then second, na chintyam means it's not one among the many things that you are in search of. Na chintyam. Oh, so again the mind says, okay, I'm giving up the search, because that is everyone's temperament. In the beginning of the quest is to objectify the truth of oneself and to bring it back and then fill in the blanks and color inside the lines. This is what it is, blue light, yellow light, green light, this light, that light, And then what? Night light. That's all. Nothing else. One is tired. The mind is exhausted. So, nachintyam means don't make the karana, which is the mind, exhausted by running around in circles looking for one more object among the many objects. This is not one more object. In fact, it is that light which gives rise to many shadows, which we mistake for objects. That's what it is. So it is that light that sustains all the little rays and beams. It's like a big disco light, let us say. And because of the disco light, there are so many lights, you can't be a light chaser and think that Brahman is one more light along with all the lights, blink, blink in the Jagat. No, it is that because of which I see all the lights. And so therefore, nachintyam means don't look for it as one more object. This is another big problem in the spiritual quest. And that's why people say, I'm not into Vedanta. I'm more of a meditator. I'm more of a singer. Om Namah Shivaya. I am more of a, active karma yogi. I just go here, go there, do that, do this. What? For nothing. I just do that. Nobody does anything for nothing, okay? What do you really do it for? Well, if you really want to know the truth, I can't stand myself. In my free time, what will I do? I don't have the restfulness to meditate. I don't know what this study is all about. And so I glide under the nice shingle of Karma Yogi. And I have what is that? Elevated, altruistic sense of self. Here is where the mind has categorized itself. Karma Yogi means what? I'm altruistic. I do things for nothing. Okay, don't do things. I don't want you to do things. Oh, please. What will I do? Don't take away my seva. So really speaking, it's not seva, it's sleva, right? Here, I am dependent on this. That's what it is. And same thing, the person who is, what shall we call them? Bhakta, the person singing all the time, not that there is anything wrong in bhakti. But the person says, I don't like Vedanta, I'm going to do bhakti, is also doing karma, correct? Karma does not produce, action does not produce what is already there. Action cannot produce that which is limitless. That which is limitless is uncreated. It cannot be a product of action because action is limited and results of action infinitely limited, are definitely finite. So this much we have to understand. So nachintyam, the second nachintyam means that now first I was an experience hunter. I wanted all kinds of experiences, sky gliding experience, pretending to be a bird, and what is that? Glub, 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 what do they, something else, snorkeling experience, pretending to be a fish, and then, a safari experience, pretending to be a lion. Yeah, better be careful when you go on those things. And one lion, adolescent lion, opened the car door. They had forgotten to lock it and looked inside, because it had ordered takeaway and it thought it was the delivery in this car. People came. And the whole family, full of children, everybody was there. Mother, father, children, and one uncle and the safari, whoever was driving this vehicle, the designated person to drive from that wildlife preserve. And one inquisitive fellow came, calmly opened. I mean, they had somebody, I don't know how in that shock they even took the video, but it just coolly opened and peered inside. Is my lunch here yet? And of course it was a split second. Everyone screamed, and I think that also, made the lunch very unsavory, You don't want your lunch to talk back, either in the stomach, in the form of cucumbers, or outside the stomach. You don't want your lunch to talk back. And here it was a screaming lunch, and so it quickly, everybody quickly closed the door, and the lion was a little dazed. Why are we talking of lions? Because we are trying to make the point that everyone before they come into the spiritual quest is an experience hunter, all kinds of thrilling experiences. And in that thrill, what happens? There is a subject-object fusion. Yeah, I become one with the waters, glub, 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 and then I have some fins which I'm wearing, and then I pretend to be the fish, correct? One with the fish, until a shark comes along, yeah. Then Dvaita also comes along with the shark. And then one is gliding, and I read one somewhere else also, some big bird, some hawk or something came and pecked, just to see what it was. What is this strange thing that is gliding? And of course they had to shoo away that, there were two people, one on top of the other gliding, and then, this one came and just pecked. Said, you are new in the neighborhood, need some worms, need some place to go. Maybe it was a friendly peck, we don't know. But of course they were scared, and then when they tried to shoo it away, it just all got discombobulated. With great difficulty they, kind of crash landed somewhere, emergency landing. So one is an experienced hunter. And then what other experience? Spider experience, bungee cord jumping, Yeah, the vasanas of being a spider from the last life, they have not departed. So they have made a comeback because one has signed up for bungee cord jumping. And then what is that? Zip line. You go on some wire, yeah. One is already wired. I don't know why this is. One is already down to the wire, but here one goes, all these thrills are because, one wants to get out of this body-mind sense complex and have an out-of-body experience. And the riskier the experience, the greater the thrill, because you forget that you have a body, you forget you have a mind. Here you can do that for free, in the Vedanta class. It is revealed to you. So then, this thrill seeker, accidentally, because of purva punya, because of previous punya, an overdose of previous punya, accidentally walks into a Vedanta class. And then what happens? Tries to seek spiritual thrills. Before it was existential thrills. Now it is, not the material thrills. Now it is spiritual experience hoarder I become. And so the meditation becomes a feat each time. Oh, blue light today, what did you see? Yellow light? Not as advanced. Blue light, more advanced. Yellow is still the beginning. And, and so like this, there is a lot of experience hunting, and that hunter is the mind, and that mind is slowly the gun is snatched from that mind. The one that wants to objectify everything, and this is also one more object and is something to be conquered. That is the meaning of the next Chintyam. It is not something to be conquered. It is not one more thing that you have. It's not a trophy. Yeah, it's not a trophy. Even though it's as sweet as toffee, it's not a trophy. It's not something that you hang on the wall. Brahmavid. Here is Brahman. You have all these lion, tigers, very unfortunate. You have people hanging, heads hanging, and then Brahman. Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. This is ridiculous. This is not a trophy. That is what? Nachintyam. Don't think of it as a conquest, a trophy. And the mind says, I'm leaving again. You're taking away all my thrills. Why should I be with you? I'm going. Well, don't go. Why? Chintyameva saha. Chintyameva cha. It's worthy of enquiry. In fact, this enquiry is the only enquiry. It must be done because it's not just one more object in the universe. It is the thing because of which all objects are. It is in fact to be revealed as the subject. Oh, object, subject? Here is a lovely duality. The mind says, I think I'll stay for coffee. When? After the break. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah, so I will stay here, answer questions and talk to you. And what I thought was nice, what I thought would be nice is an offer that I'm going to make to people I do not know yet and I haven't met either online or in person. this is not an offer for people who I know and who I have met or who I have met online. These are people who are new people, new to me. So this is an offer so that we all get to know you. So you can tell a few things about yourself, whatever you want to say. And then you have already said that in your little handouts that the question answers that you were given earlier. But now what I'd like you to do is to tell me how this course or how these classes are impacting you, what you have learned, because that will be a lovely satsang. So we can do this, a few people each day, we can do that. What is exciting for you about these classes? What are you learning? People that I have not met and people that have not taken any online course before and about whom I know nothing or next to nothing. This offer is for those people. First we'll give them the chance, and then if we have time, then we will have a chance for people who have been here before. Okay? Yeah. So some things that you're excited about, some things that you're learning, what you're going to take away from this, and how is the course working for you? How are the meditations, if you are taking them, working for you? Is this an effective medium of teaching? Because sometimes I wonder, is this making an impact? This medium. So that is the thing. And everybody can read what each person has written, and to that effect I will make this a little big. And also, if you are having any difficulties, you can write about that as well. Some difficulties, some things. Sure. It's not the middle. This is the time. Every day, a few words. Everybody gets a chance to talk a little bit. Yeah, you can do that. Everybody would like to hear what you have to say. Good, I'm glad it reaches. Yes. Yes. Where do you work, Saras? Okay, okay. Yeah, the 12-hour time difference, correct. Now we'll open it up to people who also know me and who have taken classes before. They can also write. I'm glad that the online is effective because I'm not at your end, so I don't know.
Swamiji, there's a couple of people here who wrote as well. So, TP.
TP, I don't know who TP is.
It's great to hear you speak. And then, Tripti, no. And then Christy Parnam, Namaste Swamiji. Your classes are very relevant to my everyday life. Dear Swamiji, your classes are like a breath of fresh air. That's all Christy Parnam.
Yeah. This is very important, this one. I sometimes have difficulty multitasking, not multitasking because large and active household full-time job, but no other format would be possible at this time. And love to go back to the lectures and hear again, and I have been able to catch up from the long trip to India, time difference, etc. Very nice. Very nice. And all of you are so dedicated. This is something I want to say. You're so committed. And thank you for the comments on live stream. Very good. I'm glad that this is effective. There are less distractions in each of the classes because in the form of social interactions, etc. That's good. And due to technical issues, Nivedita is on live stream. Good, I'm glad this is an effective means because I don't know how it works on a daily basis, especially the meditations also. So I'm glad to have this feedback. I'm glad it's making a difference. Yes.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, that softness has to be turned within, correct? The commentary on each text is put in folders on live stream. Unfortunately, we have lost that ability to do that. We no longer have that ability on live stream. We had an earlier version where we were able to do that. There's a request to put all the texts in their respective folders. We can't do that on this one, unfortunately. But what we could do is make the links, Malati can make the links available, and those links can be posted on the website.
Or the Dropbox.
Or the
Put them
Dropbox.
up in the Dropbox
Yeah.
and then they can...
Something like that. Some of you can help, do that. In fact, all of you are so helpful with transliteration and all these things. This is good. Nivedita's blog is very popular. Everybody is going to it after class. And it gives a recap apparently. And then the ability to access on live stream. Yeah. 1 month course has created work for the rest of the year. Yeah. Regular meditation and chanting may be considered for future along with weekly Vedanta classes. What is that now? People are asking Nivedita's blog's URL. So Tripti can give. Tripti has it by hearted. Yeah. Because Tripti is going every day. This is so much fun.
Yesterday, Swaminiji, we did the Sanskrit in Zoom, where you can see people. So I got to see Yukiko, Solvig, Pratama, and another not coming.
Wonderful.
It's fun.
Yeah, Tara is also here. Very nice. Yeah, so Nivedita's blog has become very popular. Anything works, anything that works, we encourage. Wonderful. Okay, enough of this now. We will have more, we will take up a topic like this every day, and during the what's its name, breaks, morning and afternoon, I will get to know you more like this, if there are no questions, okay? Yeah, if there are questions, of course, we'll do that first. Oh, you are coming there? That's wonderful. March 25th, yes, I'm there. Yes.